everyone, welcome. This is English in the Pocket, podcast number 11. I am the Aguidas, your host in this learning adventure. Hey, what's up everybody? Today is the third part of my conversation with Vinícius Braz Rocha, which is a Netweaver in various open source initiatives like the E2, GLADS, and many others. He's going to be talking about those. And he also talks about alternative economical ways of creating prosperity with a network of people that are connected within some values and principles. And I hope you enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed yet, go there to englishinthepocket.com and sign up. It's free. You just go there, put your email there, and I will send you lots of cool stuff to do with learning English, having a fluent English speaking. Because nowadays don't need any schools. You don't need to buy those online expensive courses. All you need is a network of people willing to talk together, willing to interact and learn together. And guess what? English in the Pocket, that is that network. You can join our free conversation group in WhatsApp. Also, to take part in our 6-month membership, premium access that will go into a deeper level if you are willing to take your English to the next level. Okay, so see you there either way.
There was a time there to show your strongest side was seen as something strong to do. Now comes a time to share your true colors and be aware. Come as you are, be as you appear. This is real power, sincerity smells like a flower. No need to fake it, already made it. This is real power, sincerity smells like a flower. No need to fake it, already made it. Writing on yourself way, exposing your fears, wishes and pain. After so long living inside your game, yourself is really brave.
How do you see? It's a very good point. And now I wasn't sure where we were going with this because I just wanted to bring it to the practical level so my practical mind can grasp it and hopefully my practical audience can also understand. So coming from a perspective of nowadays, it has been a buzz about entrepreneurship. Some people are even calling now youpreneurship, like your personal brand, like you becoming the most you can become in this connected digital society, adding creative value to like millions of people who are there consuming whatever really is in front of them. So it's really like we are trading attention. The more we are connected to virtual life, to through new technologies, we are trading constantly attention, and more the machine is squeezing our pockets out of anything that is left there to trade attention. So like you try to reach out to people through organic postings and forget it doesn't get out of your own page. Only your mom can see it because it's becoming all segmented and all so one side of it, that you have the machine squeezing the human in how people have been used to connect through social media. And now and then we see this drive of this entrepreneurship mindset growing so much in the West, like and in a kind of a promise of making it big, make to the high life as it's being portrayed. So you see these two tendencies. You are connected, you are creating content of value to people who are also consuming you. I know that you write articles, you write blogs, but I just wanted to take your point of view from these perspectives. What is the perspective that you are seeing as a society, as an individual as well, in terms of being a creative maker, like being a content maker, and and connecting, working, and new paradigms of society. Come on, I gave you a lot.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, you give me a lot of stuff to work with. Well, let's begin. Well, for to start with, I think that you see we're in a point that internet becomes our own way. Internet became the it's entrenched, it's embedded in our way of viewing the world, the reality around us. You see, we have 25 years, one quarter of a century. The internet is culturally absorbed, is culturally embedded in all types of human languages and cultures throughout this planet. So this is a very interesting thing. You see, uh, I think that we are not more in the infancy of the internet as we were 25, 30 years ago. You see, in the infancy that we saw ourselves as consumers, as users of
Hmm.
a technology. You see, I understand that the internet became a social P2P technology. You see, we really how I can see we really understand ourselves now as planetary beings. You see, uh, we don't have only that local, regional uh, perspective, sightseeing. You see, the environment that we deal with daily is not an environment only linked to to your folks that are right behind you or, or with you on a daily basis, like your parents, your friends, and things like that. You see, related to your job or if, uh, you see, it's a planetary scope now, and that's paramount to understand what in what shoes are we as a species are we in now. You see, uh, for me, I have been exploring, investigating uh, what I call the global age. It has been, I think I have been doing this investigation for about 20 years. You see, and it's very clear for me now that it's not so related to localities. You see, you are in Minas Gerais and I'm in Rio, so we're interconnected by this Zoom thing. Okay, for this information technology thing. No, no, no. I think that we really are evolving in a conscious level. You see, we really can perceive ourselves and to perceive ourselves not only through technology, how we're doing now, we we understand that this proximity
Mm.
it makes feel ourselves not as how can say to you, this proximity that we feel is not only related to the gadgets, the technologies that surround us. This proximity it can be felt from our senses, from our consciousness. I can really feel how much people I am interconnected, interrelated. Not necessarily how I said to you, parents and friends. You see, and this is a tipping point that we're living because all the things that we know about society and the way that society is structured, it depended on a third party. It depended. It depended of massive infrastructures, technological and state franchises. But that not that that that's not a reality anymore. You see, we're transforming it. We're changing profoundly our paradigms. And that's why I understand that we're not so ego individualistic as we think we are. You see, because we can't, it's difficult for us to rationalize what is happening to us right now. You see, we have difficulty to rationalize this because all your references and my references too are related to the past, are related to the formal education that we had. You see, all the habits, all the way to be with others, to work, to understand what's wealth, understand what's work, and all of these things, you see, Chagi, is changing profoundly. And we still, okay, we still blame social media, we still blame that technology, that we're only driven by technology. Yes, we still do this because you see, we still have the same institutions that that made us what we are. You see, but these institutions they won't last for the next 10, 20, 30 years. We're going to transform ourselves in other things. You see, and this other things we really don't know, man, because so complex. We're living in a complex age where states, governments, banks, banking systems, one only one way to relate it to wealth, as we call it, money, or like a dollar or euro or things like that. This doesn't really doesn't give us a clue as a society, as a civilization. You see, and I'm not saying that this is progress. I'm saying that this is evolution. This is something very different from progress. You see, because progress is very related to the old historical framework, civilizational framework that we still are linked to. You see, but we have inside of us, in our children, we already have this this energy, this way of perceiving reality related to our conscious, social conscious, our social minds that understands that the world can't go on being like we already knew that's going to stay how it is now. You see,
Of course.
that really doesn't talk, man, with what is happening with us.
Yes, it's interesting you saying that because what I hear in your talk, how I perceive it, and it makes me think a little bit here. I heard a guy called Gary V. I don't know if you heard of this man. He's quite of a prominent social media guy, and he's been doing. He's moving fast. Let's say he speaks a lot. It's interesting because he comes from the approach of the very self-assertive way. That's the way you put your message across, right? So that's one point. So it's very like a self-driven sort of society, still based on the competition, on the competitive model that you have to be the best you, because if you're not the best you, someone else is going to be the best themselves, and they're going to to override you, to beat you up, right? So that's the old paradigm of entrepreneurship or whatever business you want to be talking about. And I'm going on this economy perspective because I think this is fundamental for society as a civilization, and because it's not only about money, as you were saying, it's about energy exchange, right? So I've been thinking, of being wondering and being reflecting, and that the competitive drive that humans have, and they say is more attributed to males than females, that we have more of this competitive drive than females. I would argue about these things, but anyway, let's put it as like a male archetype. way of being, a competitive way of being, is a drive, is this kind of instinctive drive to go and push yourself to the limits. Now, if the drive is there, and we're talking about paradigms, you can't really override the drive. You can't kill the drive. You can't kill that instinct, but you can transform it, or you can make use of it in a different set of codes. And that's what we're talking about, a new paradigm. So instead of like having a competitive system in which everybody's fighting against each other, we have like a reward system, a collaborative reward system in which you're still using that drive of pushing yourself to the maximum, but not to beat the other person, and put it down, but to get the whole mechanism to the maximum of its productivity, of its connectedness, whatever is the expression of that mechanism we're talking about. So I have seen this model work in my mind. At least it has a lot to do with collaborations, has a lot to do with partnerships, in the new way of thinking partnerships, and in the way of like more like weaving the net of creating content of value, of good in, not in the good in the bad sense, but like creative and original and authentic, that I would put as a kind of a definition for good. Because we know that there is a lot of non-creative, non-authentic, and non-original content out there that is kind of, in a way, is like this: okay, everything is allowed to be, but if you have too much of the stuff that's not really adding much, you will clog up the wires, the traffic will get all jammed up. And that's what YouTube is doing already. For example, is already kind of cleaning up the platform of the so to speak, people who are just kind of doing nothing really. They're just playing with their devices. Okay, fair enough, that has a place to be. But how do you see this kind of it's not a control thing, but is in a way, this example of YouTube is interesting. Now, you know about these things now, that they have made lots of changes for subscribers and to monetize and stuff. How do you see this, being a creative person and putting your stuff out there somehow? And do you like YouTube? Do you monetize your videos there?
First of all, human beings are creative and co-creative by nature. See, we're social beings, man. And as social beings, we make the fabric of reality. we fabricate realities. You see, we make things from our imaginations or from our social minds and goes to reality. So this is something that is related to our very essence, our DNA, or things like that, or how scientists say to our IP genetics. So where we are, our DNA is altered through generations. You see, by this social and this imagination inputs. Well, this is a thing. So when you think about, you see, we really are a species that we're not here on this earth to create content. We're here in this planet to live, to have the challenge to live with each other. You see, and and when we create content, it's because we do it because, okay, it has something related to the ego. Okay, it's something related to the ego. It's something related to something fundamental as well. You see, you guy over there, you don't know me, but you can know me through this content. You see, and so content. So this thing that related to do content, to create content, it's very a broadcasting thing. You see, and the first model that we had to rely on when internet came as a social superstructure, you see, when it became a social superstructure, was related to the thing, is related to the global villages of McLuhan. It's related to the broadcasting 60s, broadcasting 70s of the last century. So the model that we had was broadcasting, man, 1 to millions of people. So that was the founding model that we try to understand this phenomenon. The social phenomenon is not only a technological, social phenomenon we call World Wide Web, internet, you see? So this is the first thing. The second thing is, once the internet is not, it became part of ourselves. It's our exoskeleton mind, you see, we are giving birth to new internets using technologies such as blockchain to do it, you see. So I'm not really preoccupied, worried with YouTube that it's a Google operation. It's a Alphabet Google operation. You see, it's a corporate operation. I'm not really worried with these corporate guys, because all my energy, as I said to you, is related to what I can build as a super social structure, as new internet for this 21st century, with the other people, with people all around the world in a planetary scape, planetary landscape view. You see, I don't see myself, as you know, as a Brazilian. I know that you know that. I don't see myself related to nationalities. I don't see myself related to flags, nothing of that. I already see myself as a earthling, you see, a planetary earthling that understands that there is 7.5 billion people of my species that I want to connect with, you see, but I don't want to connect with through this framework of broadcasting, of this framework of this old internet, where I have to be competitive. I have to be co-creating content as my greeting card, as my business card, things like that. You see, that's related to the old paradigm too, man. So what we're talking about here is to create new social superstructures that are new internets, where the governance is not, it's not going to be made by NSA, US government, or all these corporate folks like Google, Amazon, Facebook, and things like that. The governance will be made by us, the people, or made by this network people that we're becoming. We're becoming a networked, interactive societies. So that's where I'm in, man. I understand that it's not really about content. It's not really about competitiveness anymore. It seems like it is, but it's not. Because you see, we're giving birth to new internets. We're giving birth to new social consciences. And I'm saying that everybody on this planet will understand what I'm saying now, because that's not true, okay? What I'm saying is that as a network, we have already changed. You see, our patterns of organization, our ways of regulation. So if that already changed, we are changing too. We are changing everything, you see? So I don't know if I really answered your question.
Thanks for joining me. One more podcast, English in the Pocket podcast number 11. The network is still growing day by day, so invite your friends to join us. Sign up free at englishinthepocket.com, and I see you in the next one.